In this story, you can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn over the page when you hear this. Let's begin now. Pirates of the Road. Jesse Mock, an ex-motorcycle cop injured in the line of duty, now a police troubleshooter, has been recruited for a top-secret government mission to ride Street Hawk, an all-terrain attack motorcycle designed to fight urban crime, capable of incredible speeds of 300 miles an hour and immense firepower. Only one man, Federal Agent Norman Tuttle, knows Jesse Mock's true identity. The man, the machine, Street Hawk. The freak storm has been raging for nearly 3 days. The high winds drive the almost continuous rain across the highway, making motoring a very hazardous occupation. Jesse is driving back to the city in his own car after a public relations meeting to discuss the problems of looting arising from flood damage in the outlying districts. Although his wipers are sweeping across the windscreen at maximum speed, it is difficult to see clearly ahead. He splashes through a flooded section of the highway. The engine coughs, splutters, and finally dies as water reaches its vital parts. Jesse brakes the disabled vehicle and curses under his breath.
No, that's all I need.
He releases the hood, puts up his collar, and ventures out into the howling wind and rain. He is peering into the waterlogged engine, trying to see what he can do to bring it back to life, when an unmarked van draws up alongside him. The driver leans out of his window.
Having trouble? You could say that. Well, you're in luck. You're looking at Cal Konski and his mobile auto hospital. We'll soon fix you up good.
Konski and his partner get out of the van. They are well protected against the weather by oilskins and scarves around the lower part of their faces. When Konski gets level with him, Jesse sees that he carries a gun.
Okay, sucker. Get in the back seat with my partner and settle up our account. Well, let's see what I can do with this engine of yours.
Jesse is forced to hand over his wallet while Konski methodically strips the engine of all movable and valuable parts. Passing drivers take no notice as they assume a roadside repair job is underway. Konski's partner calls out to him. Hey, Cal, this guy's a cop.
So what? Isn't his money good enough for you? Rip out his radio, too. You know, cop, this weather's great for our business. Cars are breaking down all the time. People are so glad when they see us draw up. Gives us quite a good feeling inside, don't it, Mel?
Mel chuckles.
They're not so happy when we leave, though.
The two crooks stow their loot in back of their van and drive off at speed. Jesse is furious and soaking wet. At last, he manages to flag down a passing motorist and is given a ride back into the city. Later, at Street Hawk Command Center, he recounts his experience to Norman.
Those guys are nothing better than pirates, taking advantage of other folks' misfortune.
Norman is busy with his computer.
I can understand how you feel, Jesse, and you better get out of those wet clothes.
I'm okay.
Well, maybe you are, but I don't want the atmosphere to get damp in here. It may affect the computer.
Your computer can't tell where those pirates are now, I suppose.
No, we've got nothing to home in on. But don't worry, Jesse. The police department will soon catch up with them.
Jesse has changed into his black leathers and he pulls on his boots.
I'm not gonna wait. I want to take Street Hawk out and go look for them.
Norman shakes his head.
It's not the sort of weather to go looking for anyone. I don't think this amount of water is good for Street Hawk.
You afraid she'll shrink? You let me take her out or I'll ram my wet shirt into your computer ROMs.
Okay, but take it easy, Jesse, will ya?
Jesse puts on his helmet and shuts down the visor. Norman presses the control button to release the garage door, and soon Street Hawk is cruising around the streets of the city on the lookout for pirates of the road. At last, Jesse comes across them, stealing from a seized-up car on a deserted highway. He roars down towards them. The owner of the car, a distraught woman with her hair plastered down her back by the beating rain, sees him coming and cries out in relief.
Street Hawk!
The pirates need no second warning. Quickly, they grab the woman and bundle her into their van and speed off down the highway. Jesse cannot use the particle beam as the woman is in his line of fire. He sets off in pursuit of the van, calling up Norman as he does so.
I'm caught up with them, Norman, and I'm sticking with them till I catch them. Take it easy, Jesse. I can't give you hyperthrust. The weather situation is too bad. Can I disable the van with the particle beam? Sure you could, but I wouldn't try it. Don't forget, those pirates have a woman hostage aboard. You cut the van's engine in these road conditions, the van could skid out of control, and they could all be killed. Okay, Norman. I'll keep on their tail and see what develops. Do that, Jesse. I'll make sure the police department know what's going on.
When the music stops, turn the cassette over.
Jesse tails the van steadily as it makes its way towards the outskirts of the city. He doesn't want to force them into traveling so fast that they crash and injure their hostage. The van keeps going out of the city towards the mountains, and still the rain comes down. Norman's voice comes over the helmet speaker.
Jesse, I think you've got them cornered now, so be wary. The road you're on has no turn-off before the river bridge, and the river is in flood and the bridge is down. Gotcha, Norman. I'll drop back a little. Take the pressure off a bit.
The van speeds on towards the river and skids to a halt when Kalkonsky sees that the bridge has been swept away. All that remains is a part of the parapet, which sticks out crazily for the first span. Jesse slows down to see what the crooks propose to do. After a moment, he notices them drag the woman hostage out of their van towards a boat which has broken away from its moorings higher upstream. They pile into the launch, start the engine, and set off across the river. The normally placid flow of water is now a raging torrent, and their progress is slow. Norman's voice is almost drowned by the wind and rain.
Don't worry, Jesse. I guess they'll let the woman go when they get to the other side, and no, you can't follow. Who says I can't follow?
Jesse begins to accelerate on towards the river and in non-existent bridge. Norman becomes very nervous.
What are you doing, Jesse? You can't leap that river even with vertical thrust. It's much too wide. You'll land slap in the middle of the water. Street Hawk is a land vehicle, not a submersible.
Jesse looks grim.
I don't intend to submerge.
He continues to accelerate and sets Street Hawk on a course directly for the broken parapet, which is barely the width of a tire. He drives onto it and speeds along it like a mechanized tightrope walker. Norman hardly dares to look at the video monitor.
That parapet stops way before the middle of the river. Don't drown my baby.
At the end of the parapet, Jesse launches Street Hawk into space. It arcs up and then begins to fall. Jesse has timed his run up perfectly. The motorcycle does not splash into the river as Norman fears, but lands fair and square in the stern of the pirate's boat. Konsky and Mel are taken completely by surprise.
Okay, creeps. Throw your weapons over the side. Your buccaneering days are over.
The crooks drop their guns into the river, and the woman comes towards Jesse with admiration in her eyes.
Gee, Street Hawk, that was some leap.
At that moment, the engine of the boat stalls and dies. Immediately, Jesse shouts at Konsky.
Get that engine restarted. If we don't, we'll just be carried downriver by the current.
Konsky inspects the launch motor.
Nothing I can do. I thought you were the expert. I just repair engines. This one's out of gas.
The woman gives a stifled scream.
We've drifted towards the falls.
Norman's voice crackles in Jesse's ear.
She's dead right. About a quarter of a mile downriver, there's a 100-foot fall onto rocks. If you go over that, none of you will survive.
Konsky looks at his partner.
Come on, Mel. Let's swim for it.
They both dive overboard and strike out for the nearest shore.
Much as I hate to say it, Jesse, that guy's right. You'd better swim for it.
The woman's eyes open wide with fear.
I can't swim.
You can, Jesse. You're a strong enough swimmer to be able to support her. Now get going. You haven't got much time left. What about Street Hawk?
There is a catch in Norman's voice as he replies.
Leave her. Your lives are more important.
Jesse doesn't answer. He hauls Street Hawk up onto its rear wheel and braces himself against the cabin of the boat. Then he activates a quick burst of vertical thrust, which now is horizontal. By moving the angle of the bike, he is able to control the boat, and gradually, although the pressure on his back is enormous, he manages to stop its rush towards the falls and propel it towards the riverbank and safety. The police, alerted by Norman, arrive and arrest the dripping crooks. A policewoman wraps a blanket around the shivering ex-hostage as she watches Jesse roar away.
What a bike. What a man. What a team. Street Hawk.